Welcome, I'm Chris Tinsley. This is Finances for Everyone, where your financial health matters. Now, today we're going to be talking about one of my nightmare tenant situations and also a terrible real estate agent experience that I had. Now, before we get started, if you want to check out more about us, go to the show notes, click on financesforeveryone.com, where you can read our blog, get a free gift, or find out more about our real estate courses. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is really a double story. So this is not only a story about a bad real estate agent that I bought a property from, but it's also about the bad tenants that I inherited with that property that I purchased from the bad agent. So let's go ahead and get started. First off with the real estate agent and why I had some red flags and problems that I probably should have known up front. So the first red flag was that, I was telling him that I was looking for investment properties. And then, really this should have tipped me off. But the red flag was that he was just showing me terrible garbage houses. We're talking, investment properties that are just completely trashed. He's showing me $25,000 home, 2-bed, 1-bath homes. And those seem like a great deal, right? But, usually when it's too good to be true, it probably is for one reason or another. So, at the beginning of me getting to know this real estate agent, I'm driving up to one of the first houses he wants to show me. And, you see these nice areas slowly turning into worse and worse areas. You'll see people happy outside, and then slowly you just see homes declining, trash in people's yards, large number of people just hanging out in front of houses, people staring at you as you go by, and the houses getting smaller and smaller. I'm starting to look around these dilapidated home, and I'm seeing like windows that are cracked open from the outside. You look in it looks like somebody like flooded the entire property, major leaks in the roof, not cheap fixes, for these cheap, homes. So, talking further to the agent, revealed that for this house, the previous tenant had, tore out the entire bathroom, pretty much left the house in shambles. And you're thinking $25,000 is a good deal, but not the case. The houses in these neighborhoods fixed up were only going for like $50,000 or $60,000. So he showed me a few houses like this, and I passed on those deals, thankfully. And so that kind of brings us on into when he finally shows me something that looks like a pretty good deal. So this was kind of a pattern. He kept showing me terrible houses. We'll fast forward like 6 months, and he comes to me and he has a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in a nice neighborhood, really good school district, with tenants that have been there for a couple years. And not only have they been there for a while, but they have a lease option on the property. Lease option in this case, they paid $5,000 down, non-refundable, to have the option to purchase the home during the terms of the lease. So I think they had a two-year period where they could purchase the home, and they agreed upon a price beforehand, and that was all locked in. So that was exactly what I wanted. So I was looking for a property where I could get rent for a while and then eventually sell it to the tenants, not have to do any sort of work down the line. The tenants get a good property that they're already set up in, and they don't have to do any work. So that's really a win-win situation, in my opinion. But let's just say, in theory, nothing ever goes wrong, but that is really not my experience in life. So I go to look at this house, and I don't know if it's because I've been looking at a lot of trashy properties for months with this guy, or because I was really just itching for my next investment property. But in hindsight, I kind of overlooked a lot of potential issues. And so the first one was really the state of the property and kind of the landlord-tenant relationship previously. So the tenants had painted some of the bedrooms crazy colors like pink and things like that. The carpets were all ruined in the master bedroom and in the closets. They had 2 dogs that really tore up the backyard, and some other like cosmetic issues, but we're not talking anything like too major for repairs. And at the time I really wasn't worried about it because I wasn't planning on ever having to do any major repairs. These people had already had a lot of money that they put down for this lease option. So who in the right mind is going to walk away from that kind of money, which is really the foreshadowing for this entire story. But really all we were waiting on is for them to get a home loan. And overall my concern wasn't deciding if the tenants would buy it. They had put all that money down. They had a 2-year lease option. And they had actually renewed that lease option with another $1,500 that they had put down. So In total, they had put about $6,500 non-refundable down that was going to go towards the purchase of the property later on. So I take a look at the lease, assuming everything is going to look good. The agent tells me they've been paying the same amount of rent for over 2 years, and they had just signed a new lease for a year and a half. No issues there. That looks good. But what I find out later on is that the real estate agent, who was also, by the way, the property manager for this property, had signed a new lease about 2 months before I purchased the property. This new lease had essentially doubled the tenant's rent. So he lied to me, saying that they were used to paying this higher amount of rent for 2 years. And he lied about when they actually signed the lease. So when I looked further at the lease, they had it dated at the beginning of the year in January. And when I looked further, there was a digital signature there that revealed that they had signed that lease a couple months ago. And I completely missed when the date of the actual lease signing was, because they had backdated it. So better due diligence on my part, really would have revealed this and had me ask more questions about exactly the amount of rent that they were paying. So now we'll move to after I actually purchased the property. So right from the beginning, I had issue. The first month of owning the property, I couldn't get a hold of the tenants, and I didn't have that month's rent yet. So I finally, a couple weeks after owning the property, get a hold of them, and I find out that they had just had a car repossessed and they couldn't pay rent that month. So in hindsight, I should have had them evicted immediately. And in the future, that's what I'm always going to do. We're going to stick to what the terms of the lease said, but I was fairly new at this point, and I didn't really know exactly what I was doing, and I wasn't a very hard landlord to deal with. So the next 2 months were better. They paid their rent, but as we move on to month 4, this is a different story. So rent didn't show up. I contacted them, and they said that they were applying to a program at work that would help them pay their back rent. So I worked with them. They sent me emails showing, the communications they were having applying for this program. And it seemed like they really wanted to work it out, and they were just kind of struggling right now. And I had compassion on them. And that compassion is great, if you have the money and the ability to give away free rent as charity. But that point in my life, that was not the reality. I was not able to, sustain somebody else's mortgage without them paying rent. And that's really the issue for a lot of landlords nowadays. They're having a hard time being able to do evictions in a lot of states. It takes a very long time. And really what that's going to mean for some of these landlords out here is that their homes are actually going to get foreclosed on. And that's not going to be a good situation for anybody. So now you not only have, renters that have to move out, but you also have a landlord, who has a foreclosure on their record. So now we're on to month 5, and this is really when it rains, it pours. So on the 3rd day of the month, I get a simple email saying, we can't afford the rent. We moved out. The key is on the counter. Out of nowhere. And I knew they had issues, and I thought we were working it out with our email traffic, and everything was going to be fine. That's the kind of optimistic person I am, that, you can work through situations, work with people, and things are going to be fine. But not so. These tenants just wasted $6,500 in a lease option money that they put down, non-refundable, and they skipped the state. And not only did they skip the state, but the house was trash. So before I could re-rent the property, it needed new paint. It needed carpets in the master bedroom and all the closets. Of course, just like with any house that you got to rent, you have to do all these random cosmetic fixes. But I also had to haul away a ton of trash that they left at the house, and they left a lot of trash at the house. They left stuff in the fridge. They left Thanksgiving dinner in the fridge still. They left food on the countertops. They left ice cream melting on the countertops, boxes of trash, things filled in the closets. Like, it was really a mess. And of course, nothing ever happens at the best time in life. So this was no exception at all, because a few days later, after discovering that the house was trashed, I had my first child, and I had this on my plate as well, about needing to fix up a property and rent it back out. So, things can go badly. And really the moral of the story is that you have to do your due diligence and you have to ask the questions that need to be asked, and don't ignore issues when they come up, and you need to stick to your lease because that is the only thing that you can go off of, unless of course you're rich and you are able to support charity for your renters, and that's the kind of charity that you want to do. And that is really why I want you to find quality experts that are going to help benefit your business overall and not hinder it. If you look at some of my past videos, and I'll put them in the show notes, that's what I'm talking about, is finding good quality experts, because that's the thing. You can't listen to everybody online, trying to give you specific advice, because every market is so different, and you have to rely on the experts in your market and help you get properties that are going to be good for you. So whether or not you want to rent a property out, or you want to end up getting into flipping, or maybe you just want to buy your first house, your primary home that you want to live in, finding good experts to work with is always a great idea, because you may buy that first house and you decide you want to get a second house as a rental, as an investment for your future, and you want to have somebody else pay off your mortgage. And that is really what we're talking about here at Finances for Everyone. So things can go bad. Everybody makes mistakes. Everyone learns. I learn all the time, every single day, which is why I want to share some of my mistakes with you, and I want to help you learn from my mistakes. So that's why I want you to go to the show notes. I want you to click on financesforeveryone.com and go to courses, and you can find some of our real estate courses that are there to help you out, that are there to help you find experts and help you eventually get deals in your area, and really come up with a formula that are going to help you wherever you are and whatever area you are to find deals by first finding great experts. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you want to find out more, go to the show notes and you can check out some of our real estate courses. You can also check out our blog, and you can get a free gift by going to our website and filling out your information in the banner. You can also check us out on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts by typing in Finances for Everyone. Till next time.